Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Madness Entertainment Group presents the Madness Comic Network with original programming and additional comic-related content.
Hey, we want to shout out to our sponsors, Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you are a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of comic book conventions, and if you like meeting comic book creators and getting comics and comic-related stuff, then you need to make your plans to attend Daytona Beach Comic Con. This year's show is September 7th and 8th. Silverline will be there, so you should make your plans to be there too. We'll see you there. If you like comics and find yourself in the Orlando, Florida area, doesn't everyone come to Orlando at some point in time to see the House of Mouse? But when you're here, you need to make it a point to visit Coliseum of Comics, especially the one on East Colonial Drive. They carry Silverline comics, even a limited edition Coliseum of Comics version of our comics. So, when you go, be sure to ask for Silverline Comics and tell them we sent you. OCD stands for Orlando Collector Deviants. OCD, Steve and Trish, they're a family of geeks who promote geek things, particularly those around the Orlando, Florida area. They're big supporters of Silverline, and we think you should be supporters of theirs too. Go give them some love. If you are an independent comic book maker and you need to get your independent comics made, you need to look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our books, and they do a bang-up job. They're not only trusted by Silverline, but many, many independent comic book makers. Head on over to kablam.com and see for yourself just how easy it is to have your comic printed by them. And tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kilber, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday nights as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Silver Sunday on this Sunday night. What is the date? It is May the 22nd. Sorry, I am reading messages as we're going live. We have some exciting things happening. You'll notice we've got a couple of faces missing. Mr. Peter is they are anticipating baby Silverline tonight. So we know it's baby Silverline because we've talked about that's going to be the name for so long, right?
Of course.
So the only thing I can tell you is that we just swapped messages and there's no baby yet. So we will let you all know just as soon as we hear from Mr. Peter that there's a baby. So that's where we are there. Let me make sure I get some business out of the way because I forgot it last week. Curtis didn't remind me, and so
I wasn't
that's right, you weren't here, were you? So shout out to our sponsor, Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you like comic books and you like comic book conventions and you like meeting comic book creators, you should make your plans to go to Daytona Beach Comic Con in September. It's a 2-day show held near Daytona. It's not quite in Daytona.
But you should make your plans to go there. We will be there. Silverline will be there, and so you'll get to meet a whole gaggle of us. So you should make your plans. Shout out to Coliseum of Comics. If you're in the Orlando area and you can't make it to Daytona Beach Comic Con, but you still want to pick up some Silverline comics that you might have missed, make your way to Coliseum of Comics on East Colonial. And as we verified a couple of weeks ago, also in Claremont. So you can find your Silverline comics there. Please, if you do that, let them know that Silverline sent you so that they know that you're there because we sent you their way. Also, shout out to Orlando Collector Deviants, who I saw today briefly while I was at making my rounds at MegaCon. They were there doing the usual OCD stuff. So, so shout out to them. And last but not least, let's see. I think I've got. Oh, I don't have one with an ad here. Oh yeah, I do it right here. Shout out to Kablam for all your printing needs. Kablam Comics, not Kablam Comics. We're Silverline Comics. Kablam is a printer. Kablam Digital Printing is what I meant to say. So, if you need a comic book printed, they are the place to get them printed. We've already got a couple of comments. Look at that. All right. Bobby Westcovich says, "Hello, big dummy. Y'all on Facebook at home. Thank you so very much, Screw Loose. We always appreciate you." Robert said, "Hell, Lord Xenu and Hell, Princess Xena are only true saints from Clearwater."
I like that.
Yeah. Thank you, Robert Roberts. I like the hashtag there. That's pretty cool. And Ryan says, "What's up, Roland? How was MegaCon?" Well, you know what? Thank you for asking. I was just about to get that there. As always, you guys know when I go to shows, you know I like to hit the cheap boxes. So this is what I came home with today. Right, I hit the cheap. Nice. I hit the cheap boxes. Got some really cool stuff. Got I was showing Curtis a little bit earlier. Got an Atlas comic here. This was actually done by Archie Goodwin, Steve Ditko, and Wally Wood. I didn't know that when I grabbed it. Yeah,
that's cool.
And Roberta, you'll appreciate this. I got
Ultra Force.
Yep, one of the later issues of the Ultra Force.
That's really cool.
Yep. This is one of those. This is one of those at the very end of the run, and I didn't get it because the Marvel had come in and fired a whole bunch of people, and I was one of those fired. So I didn't get the last few issues that the company published, and so I was able to find this one and snag it. So I got a whole bunch of other stuff, but of course, as I always like to do, I also picked up.
Of course.
Nice.
The Arrow, and I found a copy of Rocket Ranger.
I like that.
So, so these will find homes fairly soon. I was able to walk around and talk to a lot of people, a lot of artists, a lot of comic book makers, as well as Tom Ropp, who is the guy who runs Daytona Beach Comic Con. So, so yeah, it was fun. My legs are sore, particularly my calves. I walked around. I don't know how much I walked. I should have put one of those little things on the phone I had, and to measure my steps or walking or mileage or whatever it is, or to see how far. I know I was with Martin Piero of Cosmic Times, friend of Silverline, and he said he put 7 miles on. Yeah, I said he walked 7 miles. Now he did a little bit more walking than me because I think he went out to the car a couple of times and he bought stuff and then he walked out to the car and put stuff out there. So so I didn't have to do that. I didn't buy anything that first day, and today I waited until the very end when I knew I was getting ready to leave before I bought anything so that I wouldn't have to lug it around because that's tough. That's a pro move. Oh, Ryan says, Roland and I had a great conversation yesterday. Yes, we did. It was so much fun. I got the Destructor 1 through 4 at my local comic shop a few months ago. Very cool. That is very cool. That was one that I had just, I literally picked it up because I saw Atlas on there and did not know what was in it, what to expect until I just got home. I think Curtis was probably watching me when I discovered. I was like, what the heck? Steve Ditko and Wally Wood. So yeah, I just picked it up because it was Atlas, because I've been trying to buy some some Atlas comics.
Mhm.
Because there's a lot of gems there, and they're not really collectibles, and they're not have they're not priced in a way that you can't afford them anymore, and so I've been trying to do that. Ryan says to answer the two questions. Well, we'll get there. He says
cool.
DC has better characters. Marvel is doing well in the overall department because of the MCU. And then he says, Curtis and Roby, nice to meet you. We're gonna have to get you guys on with Ryan.
Mhm.
And then he says, shared. Thank you so much, Ryan. Appreciate it very much. Yeah, we had a great conversation yesterday. It was a lot of fun. We talked about all kinds of stuff. He had all kinds of cool questions. He used Pod Deck, I think is what he called it. I think Tommy's got that, but he used Pod Deck and asked me some really cool off the wall questions, some that I'd never been asked before.
That's great.
Yeah, in an interview before. I'm like, wow, that was a really cool question. I was like, I've never been asked that before. So it was a lot of fun. So we will have to get the two of you scheduled with Ryan. I actually talked to him about that. I said, hey, you get some of our other folks on here. Oh, look here. Here we go. Tommy Florimati says, good to see y'all. I hope to be back.
Hi, Tommy.
Hey, Tommy, we're sending you lots of love, my good friend.
For sure.
Renee, a big hug. I know you guys will be making your way back to town soon, so y'all have safe travels on your way home. We have missed you. Ryan says, picked up the Forever People, Crisis on Infinite Earths, and the Phantom DC hardcover at my local comic shop today.
Nice.
So it sounds like some good buys. Yeah, so that's kind of my hot news. What, you guys got any hot news?
I think I have the hottest of news, which is our Kickstarter campaign is approaching the last leg. And I'm sure for those of you that have supported it, we want to thank you. And for those of you that want to know more about it, we'd love to show you something about it. But it's our sci-fi extravaganza with Beyond the Stars, Cray, and the Obsoletes, right?
Should I roll film?
I think you should roll film. I think
yeah.
how much time do we have left on it?
On the Kickstarter, we have 78 minutes to go.
Okay.
So here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 18th, yes, 18th Kickstarter for Silverline. That means we have successfully funded and fulfilled all the others beforehand. So if you've been one of those backers, thank you so very much. We really appreciate everything you've done to help us make these comic books. We so love making them. Our 18th one is going to be a little bit different. You know, the last several ones we've done flip books. This time we're going to do a great big book, right? We're going to call this our Silverline Elite Edition. So choose Elite because, you know, it's at least big and you're going to get it through Kickstarter. We're going to have 3 books this time. 70 pages worth of story and art. We're going to have Beyond the Stars, #1. We're going to have The Obsoletes, #1. And we're going to have Cray, #1, the remix edition. We have taken the black and whites like we've done for the other remixes, and we have digitally remastered those and colored them. But you want to know about the books, right? So here's Ron Fortier to tell you about Beyond the Stars.
Beyond the Stars, the 6-issue miniseries. It's about the race of mankind in the far distant future. We've settled billions of planets, but one day, out of the edge of space comes a black void that destroys everything in its path. So the All-Mother, the leader of the race of man, assembles a team of dedicated, skilled science warriors to find a solution, to find a way to end this threat, and to save mankind.
Thank you, Ron. And now, here's Wes Loker to tell you about The Obsoletes. Take it away, Wes.
My name is Wes Loker. I'm the creator of the new 4-issue sci-fi action miniseries, The Obsoletes, which is part of this Kickstarter campaign. The series, with art by Aaron Humphreys, story and letters by me, colors by Haley Martin, and inks by Jose Fuentes, is about a group of intergalactic prospectors who are accidentally thrust 20 years into the future and are faced with a very different reality. The world they knew is unrecognizable, and their profession is more deadly than ever. But rather than ride off into the sunset, this crew of roughnecks set out to prove that they're still the best in the game, even if they are a little bit obsolete.
Thanks, Wes. And now here's me to tell you about Cray. Take it away, me.
Thanks, Roland. Cray is a sci-fi fantasy story of a world in which mutants and humans are at war. Many on both sides want peace, but during a mutant raid on a human village, a young human boy is taken as a battle prize and then raised by a family of mutants. Trained from a very young age in the ways of war, Cray dreams of becoming a member of the Red Guard. Basically, it's the Delta Force of the world. Until, that is, his village is raided once again.
Don't those sound cool? 3 comic books in one Kickstarter. One cover. And here's the other cool thing, right? If you're here for one of the books, you get to choose which of the exclusive elite covers you want. You want Beyond the Stars, you can get the Beyond the Stars elite cover. You want the Obsoletes, you can get the Obsoletes elite cover. If you want Cray, you can get the Cray elite cover. You got your choice, and we appreciate it. So, you remember what to do here. Please back it if you can. If you can't back it, please share it to everyone that you know who loves comic books and would love to get their hands on these. And until then, remember to make mine Silverline.
All right.
Nice job, me.
That's
cool.
I talked to PJ about that, and I said, that's I'm going to be, introducing Ron and Wes both. And so, do I just keep talking? I said, I don't think I want to. I want to just keep talking because I like the idea that all the books. And she says, well, just introduce yourself too. And I'm like,
yeah,
that's not a bad idea. So,
that was funny.
So that's what I did. All right, let's see here. Let me pull this up before we get Roberta on there. So we are currently at. Let's see. Can I make that window a little bigger there? Yeah, I can. Kind of. So we're currently at 5834 or 112 backers. We've got 74 minutes to go. We have a stretch goal that we are chasing. Now we've already knocked down 2 stretch goals, and we have one that if we can reach 6,000 even, we'll get a bookmark with the Obsoletes and Cray. We've already got the trading card for Beyond the Stars, so we have that print, and then if we can make 6,000, everyone at the print level will get a bookmark with Obsoletes on one side, Cray on the other side. We've also got, if we can hit 120 backers, it doesn't matter what they back, if it's physical or digital, doesn't matter. If we just reach 120 backers, then all of the, let me pull this up so I can show it here. Then all of the physical backers will have a shot at this cover right here by Dean Zachary. The original, the original art. So if we can get 120 backers, then one random physical tier backer is going to get this original piece of art. But we got to reach 120 backers. So thank you, Dean, for that. Dean and I actually talked about this. So
looks great.
He was pretty excited about it. So this is the first stretch goal we knocked down was when we hit 5250. We all these digital. This is for all the tiers, digital and physical. They're going to get the Captain Hazard Python Men of the Lost City, which is a novel by Ron Fortier and Chester Hawkes. They're getting the Awry graphic novel by Wes Loker and Graham Jarvis. And that thing, I think I looked at that thing, that's like 90 pages long. So you're getting a bunch of stuff there. And then you're getting 2 comic shorts from me. One is Love Is Not an Alien Thing. That was originally printed. And I just found this out. In fact, Eric told me this. It was printed in an Malibu anthology, an Eternity anthology called... romance stories or something like that. I can't remember the exact title of it now. But apparently, says Eric, that's hard to find and has some value to it. I did not know that. So, so it was in black and white, but it has been colored. Jeff Whiting colored it, and it was actually the backup story in one of Jeff's Kickstarters called Extraterrestrial. So if you backed Jeff's Kickstarter, then you've got it. And then the other one is To Carry the Colors, which was a backup in Chuck Bordell's. Oh, Chuck, forgive me if you're listening. Chuck Bordell's Kickstarter. And I can't remember the name of Chuck's. I'm so sorry, Chuck. I can't remember the name of it. But it was a horror thing. And then this was a short story that I wrote. And then Chuck illustrated. That's the only place it's been seen. So this is a rare one as well. And if we can get it done in time, we're actually working on getting that colored as well. So I'm trying to get the colored version of that provided as a stretch goal. If I don't, it is what it is, but I am trying to do that. So yeah, 58-34 is where we stand, and 112 backers with now 70 minutes to go. So so you guys get over there. Roberta, you gonna share some stuff?
Absolutely.
Oh, look at this. Wubba Fett says, "Hola,
hi,
Silverline."
Wubba. Hi,
Family.
Wubba.
What's
Happy
up, Wubba? We
post-birthday.
miss you. What'd you say, Curtis?
Happy post birthday. It was just his birthday.
Yeah, I know.
Right. Yep. Yeah, I just left him a message on Facebook here. He posted something that was not a cat and mouse page.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, shouldn't you be drawing cat and mouse, dude? What is this? What is this that I see? It's not cat and mouse. You know we love you, Wubba. Ryan says, yes, more Silverline folks on my show. Let's do it. Absolutely. Ryan, I'm going to hit you up, and we'll see if we can't get some. 18th Kickstarter. You can vote now. Vote now on our Kickstarter.
All right.
Hmm.
Did it work or not work?
Yep.
Oh, there we go. It's
You
the
are.
cover.
Yep.
So remember
Nice.
that? We had that a while ago. Now we can finally
Nice.
work on it.
That is nice.
Great cover.
Yep.
Okay. Just trying to get the color idea down. Now.
Look at Wubba
fill
says
it
not
out.
cat and mouse, but it was still sexy art. Dude,
Uh,
no sexy art. There's still pages of cat and mouse to finish. I will tell you, that's one of the things I heard walking around today and Friday, talking about kind of trying to promote the Kickstarter. Is several people like, oh, all new number ones, and like, yeah, they're like, well, are you going to finish your others? And I'm like, yeah, right. I know. I'm like, yeah. I was like, well. And I didn't throw him under the bus. I didn't use his name, but since he's here and since he's posted non-cat and mouse art, I'm going to throw him now. I said, well, I'm waiting on the artist to finish the pencils for cat and mouse number 4. Oh, there's my phone ringing. And as soon as that gets done, we'll have that. And then they ask specifically about some of the ones that aren't finished yet, right? They asked about cat and mouse, they asked about Trumps, they asked about Divinity. So they're like, hey, we finished these. So
so great that we have fans in it.
Yes. Yep.
Love it.
So yeah. So that's where. So Wubba, cat and mouse, dude. What was I'm just gonna turn it off then. Come on here and get grief. I hope the answer machine doesn't kick in. He says, well, there's a whole string of cat and mouse layer. What? I guess it's got to be layer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 is done. It'll get flowing. Yeah. I know Wubba. Wubba's got a whole bunch of life stuff going on. So, and Wubba, just as soon as you can and are able, get back on here. You know that you don't need the invitation. Just jump on. We miss you. All right. So anything else?
Not too much else. Same old, same old.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, our topic for tonight is Marvel versus DC. And, we haven't talked a whole lot about Marvel and DC. Someone told me that there's an edict from Roland not to talk about Marvel and DC, and I'm like, well, that's not really a thing. I was like, I want us to focus on independent comics, sure, right? But there's no edict from all. I mean, obviously, we all grew up with that, right? I mean, we all that's what we read, but Wubba says, after I meant big clumsy thumbs.
That's funny.
So yeah. So one of the things I'm trying to think what's the exact title of the episode here. Just Marvel versus DC. I think one of the things I had on there is who has the better library. So I think that's one of the things that I kind of want to sort of get at is we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. We'll go from not just who has the better library, but we'll talk about the animation, we'll talk about comics, we'll talk about toys, we'll talk whatever we can talk about, video games, that kind of stuff. But yeah, tonight it's all about Marvel versus DC. So so I'll kind of start so that you guys can, since I haven't prepped you too much, so you can kind of be thinking about it. But for me, my background is I was a Marvel zombie. As a kid, I just read I knew that Batman and Superman were out there and that kind of stuff, but those stories just did not interest me as a kid. And I can't tell you why. I don't know exactly why. I just thought that the Marvel stuff was more exciting. And that's what pulled me in. And so I was a Marvel zombie as a kid, read almost exclusively Marvel comics. Until 1986, when DC had the Crisis. Part of my problem with DC was they had all these various Earths. We now call it the multiverse, right? And I couldn't keep them apart. I didn't know the difference. There was, what's this? Why is this Green Lantern not the same Green Lantern as this Green Lantern? And how is he in the 1940s and in the 80s? I don't understand. And so there was so much that confused me. But Marvel, they were all in the same world. They, Spider-Man would swing through, be swinging through the city, and Fantastic Four would, in their book, go, "Hey, look, there goes Spider-Man," right? And I'm like, that's cool. That's what I like to see that, And so it wasn't until DC's Crisis that DC decided, they were going to take all of their multiverse worlds and crunch them together. And I said, okay, I'm on board. And then I started buying almost everything that DC did. Not everything, but almost everything that they did. That's when I became a DC reader, but it was not until then. So that's kind of my background. What about you guys?
Go ahead, Roberta.
I was going to say, I read when I was younger, the few that I got were not Marvel. So I started out in that camp, and then I think when I got back into comics when I was older, I ended up seeing that there was just a lot of Marvel. I think that I swapped, because I had, I think for the most part I was really into Batman, but that was about like the big one. For me. And then I don't really think that as far as like story style, I didn't have a preference. So you're going to have to go on that one. I really didn't, because I have a problem with liking a lot of variety, and I didn't find it stale, so
yeah.
that's pretty much so some people get really interested in certain characters and get stuck, I think, and
that wasn't
so that I was not someone that was, I guess that means I wasn't that loyal to it, but I think it was that if it interested me, I was all into it. And
now what was pulling you more, or the art or the characters?
The art.
Yeah,
but that's really where I start from. So yeah, I did like good stories. I think I liked Grendel.
That's
that was
so.
A great
All right,
story.
Well, then that would be my question. Then it was, so when you said not Marvel, you didn't necessarily mean DC,
right?
Okay,
I did like Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But But I don't know. I liked Batman, so that was where I was really picking the DC bus.
Yeah. Yeah. See, and I wasn't super aware of anything other than Marvel or DC early on, with the exception of, Archie comics. And I kind of looked at Archie as those are for little kids,
Mm-hmm.
And of course at 8, 9, and 10, I wasn't a little kid, of course. Don't give me those Archie comics, right? So Curtis, what about you?
Yeah, I'd say predominantly when I started out it was mostly Marvel, and then DC there'd be Batman, Superman, things like that. I always feel like, I mean, you can't have Marvel without DC and without those archetypes that set it up. So, always much respect to DC in that regard. And I feel like between the two, the best reimagining of their characters is DC. DC has great stuff that they did with Elseworlds, Dark Knight Returns, all those things. There's something about their characters where I feel like they fared better when they would reimagine and reintroduce their characters as opposed to their Marvel counterparts. So, I'd say the Marvel characters were great with their original incarnations, and DC is good with their reincarnations of their characters.
Reincarnation. Yeah.
My take on it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Wubba says, that's a good looking cover, looking good, Roby.
Thank you, Wubba. Yeah. It's a fun cover.
So here's something. I don't know how far down this we want to go, but we'll touch on it since Wubba was brought it up here. So Marvel and DC have committed to suicide with the forced PC stuff. Not a popular opinion, but it's been the truth so far. And one of the things I'll say about this, we've talked about this a little bit in my class, because we look at the sales figures, right? And if you look at the numbers, and we're talking, just objective, here's what the numbers are. Marvel and DC are selling at an all-time historical low. So DC's been around since the 1940s. They have never sold this as poorly as they're selling now. Marvel's been around since the 1960s. Some people say, well, they've been around longer than that, is timely. But Marvel's been around as Marvel since the 1960s, and they have never sold as poorly as they're selling now. And while I think there's lots of reasons, I think that the PC stuff that Wubba mentions, I think there's some truth in that. I think that there's they seem to, whether they do or not, they seem to, from the outside looking in, they seem to have some sort of a politically correct agenda that they're after. And when fans yell about it, and they have, they just seem to double down. It's like, yeah, we don't really care what you think. We're gonna do this, and they're taking a hit in the sales. And I did a last minute stream last night in which one of the guys was a retailer, and he said every time that he closed his physical shops, not because of that, but he said that had something to do with it. He said, but COVID was kind of the thing that pushed him over, and so he went to all online now. But he said he had 2 shops, and he goes every time
I'll be right there. Keep talking.
All right. But he said every time that Marvel and DC would double down as a result of fans yelling, he said, I would lose subscribers. They would come in and just cancel all their subscriptions. And he said it was killing me. And it's like Marvel and DC didn't care about the retailer and about the fans. And so he was like, I'm losing customers because you guys seem to have this agenda that only serves you, and you're not bringing new customers into my store. You're driving my old ones away. So I think there's a lot to be said. And he's not the only retailer. There's been a lot of them like that. So yeah, I think that's certainly a problem. How many backers did we say we had earlier? 112, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we still have 112. I saw a number move over there, but I think it might have been the minutes. Yeah, I was like, something moved. So yeah, I think that here's and listen, I'm not going to mention any names, but I went to a DC writers panel at MegaCon. Okay, mostly because I was there trying to meet someone, and so I sat down at the back, and I don't, you know what? I don't know who they are, and even if I did, I wouldn't mention names. Okay. But they were talking about in writing comics, and this one writer said, "I got this assignment to write this DC comic, and I didn't know anything about the character at all, and so I had to go and read a whole bunch of comics." My first thought was, why in the world did DC Comics give an assignment to a writer that knows nothing about the character? That's not the way you do things.
That's strange.
It is very strange. And I'm sitting there listening, going, okay. Well, the other thing is, why in the world would you confess that on a panel of comic book geeks sitting in the and I don't know anything about this character, but I'm going to write it. Ha ha ha! What?
No.
What? I was just sitting there thinking
that would enrage everybody.
Well, you could. I mean, you should have seen some of the looks out there.
Wow.
The writer then said something about, well, I had to do all the research because there are fans out there who read way more than I ever have.
It sounds like all fans read more than that person.
Exactly.
I will confess, I was very surprised to hear that. I was like, really? Why would they hire you then? Shouldn't you have made a pitch?
Wow.
So I don't know. It was a surprise.
Decision.
Yeah, very odd.
It was a surprise to hear.
Wow.
But
that's amazing. And the fact that you had that's very telling too. I had to read comic books.
It sounds like an assignment that is a chore.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what it sounded like. Yeah,
you want to read them because they're cool.
Yeah, they're fun. So what's wrong?
Well, and I wonder if that's just not indicative of the way that Marvel and DC in general are getting the writers these days. Is this, they're just going out and oh shoot, someone gave me a quote, and it came from. Oh shoot! Someone gave me a cool. Hey, we got another backer.
Yay!
All right, thank you.
Yep. So someone said, let me get the quote right. They're not hiring. Oh, here we go. And I don't remember who it was. I wish I could give attribution. This is not my quote, and I can't remember who was quoted. But someone was talking, and someone was a professional comic writer that said Marvel and DC aren't hiring writers anymore; they're casting writers.
Ooh, that's a great,
great quote. Really, and it's like, man, that's a really great observation.
That's a really good, yeah. Well, I think that's a really good thing too, explanation too, because I think before the characters came first, and that there's good, you can say good things and bad things about that,
Yeah.
And then we had the period where the creators came first, and I think the Image guys were a prime, example of that.
Oh yeah.
The pendulum sways, and I feel like we're at the tipping point for it to swing back, hopefully back towards the characters, because we're everybody's there to read the books.
Yeah.
And anything extra that the person puts into it, that's. I mean, I think politics, views, social commentary was always part of Marvel to some degree, and X-Men, like without a doubt, from the onset. But
it was cleverly written.
It was the thing is it was still well written, and it didn't supersede the actual quality of the story. And that's my. That's not even just my feeling. That's a fact. I'll say
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, you could read it and you weren't slapped in the face with political commentary. Mm-hmm. They first entertained you with the story about these mutants, right? And you're like, oh, I'm invested in these mutants and their lives and everything. But layered underneath the story was political commentary, and that's now they don't know how to. I don't know if they don't know how to do it, or if they're not, or if they don't care. There's no layers. It's just like we're just going to slap you in the face with political commentary, and it's like nobody wants that.
For me, it's not just slapping me in the face. It's if you slap the characters in the face. If you demean the characters and don't serve as good ushers of that legacy, then that's a disservice. That's a disservice to anybody. And I get that feeling like, I eat vegetables, I eat meat, but there's times where my wife and I would go to a vegan restaurant and they'd be like, it's vegan bacon. And we're like, oh, okay, well, how are they going to do this? And it's like, oh, it's tofu and ground garbanzo beans with beet juice red dye. Like, this ain't no bacon. This ain't no bacon. You can call it, no, don't call it bacon because I know what bacon tastes like, And they have this new thing called Beyond Meat, which is like, if you ever had anybody at Beyond Meat, it's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's closer.
I just don't like any of it, so sorry.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Yeah. But it's not even Beyond Meat, It's if I want a steak, I don't want tofu egg scramble. That's all I'm saying.
Ryan says Kingdom Come is my favorite graphic novel, and Superman is my favorite character. So DC wins in the end for me.
Literally the end for Kingdom Come.
Right. Wubba said it's always there. It was always there, and it didn't slap you in the face with it. Yeah, I think that's right. And I don't know if that's because the writers who were writing back then were smarter, or the editorial was craftier in working with the writers to say, hey, this is too blatant. Let's find a way to make this a smarter story. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what that is. Let's move on to movies. Okay, so think about your favorite Marvel movie, and we're not going to debate those, right? We're just, but think about your favorite Marvel movie and your favorite DC movie. Now, which one of those do you like better? Curtis, I'll let you go first.
Marvel definitely.
Do you want to mention which ones?
Yeah. It would have to be, and I guess it's appropriate. It would have to be Captain America: Winter Soldier is like hands down one of the best ones, and it teed off of the things that happened before and took it to a new level. So I'd have to say that's my favorite. For DC, I do like the new Batman movie. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, I did too.
But there was something very satisfying about the Marvel movies more. And all I can say is I talk with my friends about this all the time. And at the end of the day, I still remember back when we had to wait 3 or 4 or 5 years for some type of superhero movie, or have to watch Adventures in Babysitting to see a cameo by Vincent D'Onofrio's Thor.
I remember that.
It was smart.
Wait, was he Thor?
Yeah, that was Vincent D'Onofrio.
I did not realize that.
Yeah. That was.
I remember that very clearly.
Yeah, it was hard times, and Dolph Lundgren as the Punisher. So whatever I see now, I still say at least it's not Dolph Lundgren's Punisher. Everything's better.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Lundgren.
Roberta, what about you?
I don't know. It's hard to say because I liked Endgame. I guess I think that's my favorite. Just for the balance of it and story. But my issue with the Batman thing is I feel like I like where they're going with it, the latest movie and such. But I don't quite think it's gonna hit a favorite yet. So I'm still gonna go Marvel.
Okay.
And they're funny. I think they get humor properly.
Yeah.
And that really hits it with me, I think.
Yeah.
Like Ragnarok, it's not the best movie, but oh my God, I laughed so much.
Yeah. Yeah. There were a couple of times I laughed and I'm like, I shouldn't be laughing right now. The haircut scene, I'm like,
shouldn't laugh, but
I shouldn't be laughing here, right?
It's funny though.
It was funny. Yeah, I think I have to agree with both of you. In that, if I were to if I had to pick a favorite of the Marvels, it would be tough. But I would probably go, and I know this is not going to be the same for everyone, but if you know me, you'll know why I picked it. But for me, it's got to be the Ultron, the Avengers Ultron. And that's just because the Vision was such a
I love how they worked with the Vision.
oh man, and the Vision's always been one of my favorite heroes. So yeah, it's got to be for that. It's got to be. And as far as my favorite DC movie, I don't know. That's tough. I guess it's gonna have to be one of the Burton, either the Burton Batman, or maybe the oh shoot, who was the second guy that did the Batman? Not the actor, but the director everybody talks about. Nolan, right?
Oh, Nolan, yes.
Yeah, the one with Joker, with that one. I did not like the third one. I know that makes Dean mad, but
I like the third one.
Oh, you did? Sorry. No, Roberta, no. There's so much wrong with it.
What's wrong with it?
There's so much wrong with that one.
We'll have to have a talk about that.
We really should have some movie review episodes. We should have a couple.
I know. We've got to have these lively debates.
Yeah, we really should. Yeah, that easy filler right there.
Yeah. I wonder how we would do that and not get banned. I wonder if we could like show
it's
part
just
of
opinions.
it. Yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
Personal opinions. We're not like
Yeah,
experts.
I nominate the superhero movie of our time, Catwoman, starring Halle Berry.
Oh man,
that's gonna start a fight.
Painful.
Yeah. There we go.
Anyway, so if I even take those as my favorites and try to match them up against my favorite at Marvel, it's hands down Marvel. Oh, look at that. The Ninja Ginkgo says, good evening. What's up? I hope I'm saying your name right. The Ninja Ginkgo, right? The Ninja. It's got to be the Ninja.
Yeah.
Wubba says, yeah, let's go with that generation of writers was more clever and intellectual. I have to think Wubba's right there. He says, Keaton, Batman, Moon Knight, and Morbius have been faves. I'm still waiting for a Silver Surfer movie. All right, so I
would go for a Silver Surfer movie.
Oh man, I would too. I should probably keep score, shouldn't I? So for movies, we've all said Marvel. So movies, Marvel's 3, DC 0. So what about what about TV shows?
Oh man,
Marvel?
I mean that's hard because I loved the Hulk and I was little.
Yeah.
Oh, the one with Bill Bixby.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I really love that. So that started out, a lot. Of course, Wonder Woman also. So that was the beginning.
The Linda Carter Wonder Woman.
Yes, Linda.
Yeah.
Carter.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. You're going back.
I'm just saying, I was very young, and it was influential.
So of those two, then, if those are your favorite two, if you had to pick one of those, which would come out on top? If you can only watch either Bill Bixby as Hulk or Linda Carter as Wonder Woman, which would you watch?
I think I like the Hulk a little better.
Okay, so Marvel gets a tick in the TV column from Roberta.
Yep, that's what I'm saying.
Curtis, what about you?
I feel like, to be really honest, I think the Marvel TV shows have always come up a little short for me. The recent incarnations, and the one DC, even though I don't know if it was the best show, but the CW shows were actually consistent.
They were really good.
Yeah. So that coupled with, I don't know if you guys saw Peacemaker. Makes me feel like DC's on the. I'm going to give DC the edge because Peacemaker was amazing, and
I need to see that one. Yeah.
It's really good, and rumor has it that James Gunn might be taking over a big spot in DC and doing more TV shows and movies. So I'm going to give it the edge to DC on that. That's
okay.
Take. Yeah.
We started watching Peacemaker, but it got a little adult for us, and
it is
so
it's a little
yeah.
raunchy.
So we're kind of like, all right, let's we bailed on it.
Yeah.
So,
It does come full circle. I'll tell you this. It doesn't look like it, but it actually gets a little heartwarming at the end in like true James Gunn fashion. But you do have to get through the raunch to get to it. So
yeah.
oh, yeah.
The ninja said Peacemaker was savage.
That's awesome.
And then oh shoot, here he goes. He's going to be changing his name soon. $6 Million Man. Oh, that's interesting. Is that a comic book movie?
No,
or
that was a TV show.
Should
that was a TV show.
Yeah, but is it a comic book? We should talk about that. I don't think so. Yeah. Hyper says I'll choose watching Linda Carter over Lou any day. Though the Hulk show was probably better written and had the best intro theme music.
I thought that was a great theme song.
Yeah, I think so too. And for those who know, have heard Barb talk about it, she's kind of modeled. That's kind of one of her inspirations for Divinity, is the storytelling format that the Hulk TV show used. I mean, obviously, Divinity is not the Hulk, but it's just the format of here he is, a traveler on the road. That's what she's trying to.
Everybody.
Yeah. And so she's kind of modeling that, using that as a model for Divinity, which I think is a very good idea.
Great start.
Wubba says 60s Batman, Doom Patrol would be my faves for TV. DC, CW TV shows are great at the start and then fizzle out slowly. Yeah. I gotta agree with that because we watched some. I gotta Marvel and DC as 1-to-1. I'm gonna be the tiebreaker here, aren't I? We watched a lot of the CW shows, and not all of them, but we watched a lot of them, and it's like, oh man, this first season really, really good. We like it so much, and then for the Arrow, it's like, oh my gosh, can he just stop whining already? He just, it was good at first, but then he just became the whiner, and I'm like, he's not the Arrow, he's the whiner. Come on. Yeah. And I think one of the things that Marvel's doing good, and I think that they avoid this, is they're doing little shorts. They're not doing
miniseries.
They're doing miniseries. So you get in and get out. I think my favorite of the Marvel's TV shows has probably been Falcon and Winter Soldier.
That was good.
Yeah, it was very much a buddy cop thing. I love, I love the Falcon. I always have liked the Falcon, even back when he was with Captain America in the comics. And I think he's, I forget the actor's name now.
Oh gosh.
Oh, Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he's a fantastic actor. He does a great Falcon. I am not as hot on WandaVision as a lot of people are.
That one wasn't my back. I didn't.
Yeah, I thought it had some clever elements. What the TV thing being one of them. Yeah, I thought, oh, that's kind of clever. That's neat. But I don't need 3 episodes of it. It's okay. Yeah, you're doing the TV thing. I get it. But 1 episode was enough.
Well, it did evolve at least.
Yeah, no, it did, but I just thought it had a really slow start, and I thought Moon Knight had. Have y'all seen Moon Knight?
Yeah, that's good.
I haven't seen the whole thing. I'm like 2 episodes shy, so
I like it. I think it's good.
Yeah, I enjoyed. BJ really liked Moon Knight, but she didn't. She entered into it not knowing anything about the character. Of course, I'm watching it going, I don't like that. I don't like that, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, "What? I liked it. I thought Moon Knight had a really, really, really slow and confusing middle. The whole hospital stuff. I'm just like, what are we doing here, and why are we still here?
Had to figure it out. That's for sure.
Yeah. But I did like, except for the, I can't. Curtis hadn't seen the last part, so I got to tiptoe here. I thought in summation, I didn't think that we saw Moon Knight enough in the series.
Not much.
It was a Moon Knight show, and we didn't see him in costume that much.
Oh, that's a shame.
It was pretty funny. Trying to swap costumes. I mean,
yes, yeah.
the whole idea of his version of the costume was
Right.
pretty
He
funny.
reminded me a lot of The Mask when he did that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
You
a
know?
good one. Yeah.
Which is not a terrible thing. The Ninja said he was comic book. He's a character in the Super God comic. Jerry Craven was his name. Peacemaker, I guess is what he's talking about. Yeah. And Wubba says, I'm anxious for Sandman on Netflix. Yeah, that's going to be interesting
Yes.
to see what they do with that. So,
Love Sandman very much.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to have to give the nod slightly to Marvel on the TV shows.
Okay.
So that's Marvel 2, DC 1.
So are we not mentioning the Luke Cage and Jessica Jones?
The Netflix ones?
Yeah, those were really interesting.
Really interesting.
Iron Fist. Iron Fist
man.
Marvel down like 3 points just on that Iron Fist stuff. Wow.
I was going to ask you about that, Curtis. Didn't you like Fu and Iron Fist?
I put a cease and desist order on that show just not to show.
Iron Fist didn't make sense at all.
It did not. It and the thing about it is, I really wanted to like Iron Fist. I wanted to like it.
It was.
It's horrible. And I believe the hype. They were like, "Oh, we got this fight choreographer, and we're going to use these kung fu styles." And I know kung fu. I know what the styles look like. And I was like, "This guy's doing Taibo all over people's faces. Like, this isn't kung fu. Like, what the hell is this nonsense?" Horrible show.
See, I think Roberta may be onto something. We could get Curtis just ripping the show apart, right?
I think so.
Wubba says, "What? I want a recount roll, and DC wins on TV." And I haven't seen some of the other shows like Teen Titans.
I like Luke Cage though a lot.
I liked the Daredevil Netflix show.
Yes, I like that too.
Yeah. In matter of fact, I just spent probably sometime last week. I went down the YouTube rabbit hole watching all the fight scenes. From because someone on YouTube, you know how YouTube is. Someone made a clip, all the Daredevil fight scenes, right? So I just watched that.
All the good stuff.
So and those were really good. I just think Charlie Cox, right? I think I think he made a real. I wasn't hot on the costume, but I get it. But I thought that, man, he was a good Daredevil. I thought
he was perfect.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're bringing him back, right?
Yes, me too. I was even though I wanted to see more of him. It was exciting to see him very briefly in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, cool. And of course, the thing about it is I saw him, and then I'm expecting Daredevil in the show then, right? And it's like, nah,
no, they didn't bring it.
No, it's like
it's the tease.
All right, yeah.
It's like when you go to the fancy restaurant and they have the dessert cart, and it's like, and it's like the dessert cart just walked right past you.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, so let's move now to animation. And Roberta, we'll let you go first again. Animation. Your favorite Marvel animation and your favorite DC animation, and then which one wins?
Oh, because I like the Wonder Twins and all that, but that was terrible.
Roberta's going back in the catalog.
I always like going back there.
It's valid.
I did.
I like that
the
too.
Animated Batman.
Yes,
that was really good.
Yes, it was.
Oh, that was great.
I don't know if it's better. You know what? I'm gonna go with what? I don't know where to pick with the Marvel because I guess it. Come back to me with that. I need to think on what my actual favorite might be. I need to think about that one.
What about it, Curtis?
Oh, well, yeah. Favorite Marvel animation was definitely Into the Spider-Verse. I thought that was just phenomenally executed.
Yeah.
Okay, if we're going there, yes. Unfortunately, I have to say that was so good.
It's beautiful.
Yes, it was.
That would be my favorite.
Yeah. And for DC, I really DC, I like the 2-part Dark Knight Returns adaptation. I thought that was really solid, and they really got it. And I would have to give it to DC. I mean, when you see what Warner Brothers Animation has been doing for years, starting with the Bruce Timm Batman, and all the straight to video, and they actually had things that there were continuity, all the adaptations, and the amazing amount of characters, and just the stellar work. I know a fair amount of the guys that work on that, and they work their tails off to get everything, perfect. And so I think I definitely give that edge to DC. I think Roland would appreciate this. I was just talking to them the other day, to some of the storyboard artists, and they were saying people don't appreciate how hard it is to write superhero or even storyboards superhero sequences, because you have to remember, like, the fan is going to look at it and go, well, why didn't he use this power in this situation? And this doesn't match up with his code of conduct, and this doesn't match up with this, and why wouldn't this person use this part? And they said it's like this tangled, string that you have to get to be true to the characters, and to hear them express those challenges just tells me how much they truly care about those films and those videos. I think I definitely give the edge to DC on that.
Yeah. Well, I did really like the Spider-Man animated series.
Oh yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
So Roberta, you giving the nod to Marvel or DC?
I think I'm going DC on that one.
Okay. You know what? I think I got to go DC too, because I think probably I probably haven't watched as much of the animation as I have the other stuff, but for the Marvel animated, obviously the Spider-Verse was just awesome.
Yeah.
But when you think about the maybe TV shows, things like the Spider-Man series was that was pretty good. I like the Avengers stuff too. It was, some old Malibu folks worked on that, but I like the Avengers. But as much as I like those, I think the DC stuff, the Justice League stuff that DC did, I used to watch that.
Pretty solid.
Oh man, that stuff is so good. Oh shoot, what was the other one I was just thinking of? Young Justice.
Yeah.
That is so good. And like you said, there's other content. I haven't seen as much of it as I wish I had seen, because I know some of it's available on Netflix and that kind of stuff. But so I need to watch more. But I do think that DC gets the nod when it comes to animation. Certainly.
Totally. It's unanimous.
Yeah, it's unanimous. So far we've got movies, Marvel 3, DC 0, TV, Marvel 2, DC 1, animation, Marvel 0, DC 3. So
there's a trend.
It's a pretty tight race here. So this one may be a little different, because I'm not sure that any of us have that much experience. But let's talk about video games. What about video games? Curtis, you probably have more. I'm guessing.
Guilty as charged. I got this. I didn't get these calluses on these thumbs from Kung Fu. That's from.
Oh no!
A lot of video games.
So we'll start with you, so Roberta and I can listen to you. Form some opinion. So, your favorite Marvel video game versus your favorite DC video game, and then which one comes out on top?
Well, let's go a little bit further back. I was born in Honolulu, Hawaii. About 40. No. That's what. Roland's favorite thing about bad storytellers. Let me tell you a story before.
Right.
A free story.
No. I'd say for me right now, it's a pretty close call. It's a pretty close call because DC had Warner Games had great stuff like the Batman Arkham series, which is just really good. They had DC had a Telltale series where it was like story based Batman games. Those are excellent. Their Batman games are great. And then for Marvel, they had tied up with Capcom back in the day for Street Fighter video games. But most recently, they're Spider-Man Insomniac games, Insomniac Development Studio. Those Spider-Man games are amazing. They're everything that I ever wanted in a Spider-Man game.
Wow.
And they're going to be doing the Wolverine one soon too. So I have to say, as much as I play both, it's a tie because they've also had huge misses. The Avengers game from what I hear, is just a hot mess.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, on two levels. Like one, they put a lot of stuff behind a paywall, and then the story part of the campaign. If I understand it correctly, people thought that they were playing it and going to play an Avengers game, and the Avengers get sidelined at the beginning of the game, and you have to play as Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel.
That's weird.
Because she's
What
going
the heck?
to bring everybody together, all the Avengers back together. So it's kind of a bait and switch when you get that game.
Oh, that's not cool.
Yeah,
No one
so,
likes that.
yeah. So, but I give it a tie. I have to say tie because they both have
Okay.
really good
Yeah.
stuff. Really good stuff.
Well, sorry, Brolin. I haven't. I haven't a vote.
You haven't a vote.
I can't vote. Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I can say the Capcom stuff just because that's the only ones I played.
Yeah, those are great.
I
So-
love them. They're fun. But
Yeah.
that's all I got.
so you did you play those in the
In the arcade.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, I played. We got and you help me out, please, Curtis. These go back to the Nintendo. They were 4-player. See, my problem is I don't play. I am not drawn to single-player games, which is what a lot of these games are. You know, you play as Spider-Man, and no one plays with you. You solo the game, and same for Batman and things like that. I'm not drawn to those games. That's just not something I pick up because I don't want to play by myself.
Yeah.
You know, usually if I'm going to play games, I want to play with people. You know, I want to play with somebody else, my friends. And so I don't have a whole lot of, I can't think of any of the single player games that I've played for either company. But we played we played 2 of the Marvel ones. We played the one with the X-Men. And which you could choose your X-Men, and you all 4 of you go through the you have the danger room and not the danger room, Cerebro. You could go, you navigated X Mansion and stuff like that, and they had bedrooms that you could go and talk to them. It was kind of story driven. I can't remember what it was now, but we played that as a family. And then we had the Avengers one. Can you think of the names of them?
I just remember there was the arcade ones. There was an arcade Avengers game, and there was an X-Men arcade game. And both the X-Men arcade game was based off of the X-Men animated series pilot that never got further made with Kitty Pryde and stuff. It was really good.
Nintendo. What was Avengers video game Nintendo? I'm trying to Ultimate Alliance.
Okay.
Ultimate Alliance. Yeah, that's what we played. Ultimate Alliance. And really enjoyed those again because we played them as a family. This is where Brett, my son, this is where he got the addiction for Deadpool, because Deadpool was one of the characters in there. And he said all these fun, he would teleport and say all these funny things, and Brett just loved that, right? So he was playing Deadpool. BJ would always play Wolverine because she just I just want to beat people up. So since I have to be a tiebreaker, my tiebreaker's got to go for Marvel, just because I haven't played a lot of the DC games. So yeah, it's gotta go Marvel there. So all right, so that's movies, television, animation, video games. What else is left?
Good show. I gotta go, guys.
Sorry.
Okay. I'm sorry. Can't help it.
That was a perfect timing and delivery, Roberta.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, well,
thank you so much.
Roberta.
That was really fun. Real fun show.
So
Thank
think about
you.
legal questions next week. We're gonna have a young guy on here next week who's going to be studying to be a lawyer. So we'll pepper him with lots of legal comic booky questions.
Mm-hmm. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So, Curtis, you're already up. You good to share?
And this is going straight to it. Okay, yeah, there you go.
All right, excellent.
Okay.
All right, bye, Roberta. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right.
Curtis, give us a quick what we're looking at.
Sure. So this is a page of my my upcoming Silverline comic book, Shadow Ghost, and I'm doing all the artwork for it. So it's actually went from pencils to inks, and then now I'm laying the flats and going back and rendering. And so, but what you're going to see is you're going to see me hopping back and forth because I have all the concept art here with all the colors, and you'll notice that in a lot of the character designs, I even have the swatches for the specific colors.
That's cool.
And so, yeah, so it's always consistent. So I always kind of keep a couple windows open, and I'm always going to be going back with the color picker and making sure I have the exact colors.
Perfect colored, yeah. Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Very
what
cool.
I'm doing.
So what about toys? I guess.
Oh, that's a tough one. Toys. I think Marvel had more plentiful toys, but I kind of always feel like DC always kind of had a little bit nicer or more upscale toys than Marvel.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of my thoughts on it. But
yeah. I was never a big toy person, but I kind of felt the same way. I felt that you could get a lot of the Marvel toys, but DC's were just sort of better. You know, just seemed to be a higher quality. I know that we had a couple of Marvel toys that broke, and Brett used to take the big DC, you know, the little 8-inch characters, the hard plastic ones. Man, he'd take those things and beat them against each other. While Martian Manhunter got Batman blue all over his chest from being beat on, he survived. You know, he wasn't broken. Oh, look at this! Oh, we got somebody popping in here. Aaron Humphrey says, "Nice."
Hey, Aaron.
He says, "Which page is this?"
Oh, what page? This is page 11. Page 11.
All right, so that's the halfway point.
Yeah, and I've actually kind of been doing a lot of the process has changed. You know, I'm learning how I want to do this. So now I go ahead and I take a page from pencil all the way to flats, and then from there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of nice to kind of see how it formulates before you do the next page. You kind of start to have like a clear idea how the whole thing's going. Yeah,
you know, I think I'm not an artist, but I think my fear of doing that would be I would get to page 17 and then, oh man, I want to go back and add this on page 2 because you know what I'm saying. And if you finish it all, then it's harder to add, you know. So
true. Yeah, I think that's also why I spend so much time like doing all the concept. So I kind of have like a clear idea. I mean, I have to kind of rein myself in sometimes, but a clear idea of like the level of color and rendering, and I'm mainly going for like a very kind of manga anime aesthetic. So like kind of flat. I was like kind of flat kind of color rendering. But yeah. But it's fun. You know, I'm having a good time working on it. But
very cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we both gave DC the nod for toys, didn't we?
Definitely.
Yeah. So what about any other kind of so we mentioned video games earlier. Have you ever played any of the other maybe any kind of board games with Marvel or DC?
I played RPGs. I mean, there was a Marvel RPG back in the day, and there was a Batman RPG. And,
just a Batman, not a DC?
It was literally just Batman. It was literally just a Batman RPG. But I mean, you could play like Nightwing or have any, you know, they kind of basically would be like in Gotham, you know, so you could have, you know, your own Bat family character or something, like, you know. So yeah, I played that. I have a Marvel card game over there that a friend gave me, but I haven't played it yet. So how about yourself?
Yeah, no, it's the RPGs. That's the only thing I've ever played, and I didn't play either one of them very much because we always played something different. I played a lot of Superworld. Are you familiar with Superworld?
I'm not. Who made that one?
It's Chaosium. It was a Chaosium game.
Okay.
Probably the leader at the time was either Champions or Villains and Vigilantes. But I preferred the Superworld game system. It was just a lot for me. It was just a lot easier to understand, easier to teach. I was actually the game master.
Nice.
Yep, for about 5 years. So, and truth be told, Curtis, some of what ended up in the comic books comes from the games.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Like
Sure
cat and
enough.
mouse, or
No, not cat and mouse. Now Demon precedes the game, but he was in the game.
Mhm.
Absolutely, I've got a character sheet still with him. Let's see. There is some kind of some story elements, things that I mean, I didn't pull it straight from as you know, if you've played any, you can't. Well, we can't really do that exactly as a comic, but that's kind of a cool thing. We can do this.
Yeah.
Um,
Have you ever heard of Heroes Unlimited? It was by Palladium Press, I think. That was a good superhero RPG.
Nope, never played that one. The first one I ever heard of was called Heroes 2044.
Okay.
Maybe it might have been Superheroes 2044. And I got that one when I was in high school, but I didn't know anyone, to play with, so I just, didn't do anything. And then Superworld came out when I was in college, and so I grabbed that and started playing it with some college friends, and that's we just kind of stuck with it. And we bought the champions modules and the villains and vigilantes, and looked at those and kind of played with them a little bit, but we stuck with Superworld. And like I said, we played that it's funny because we started off playing it at a junior college, and then we all transferred down to a major college and just kept playing it.
So was it the same characters? I mean, like essentially the same campaign? That's great. I love when that happens, because then you have like this. It's like the best TV show ever, right?
Yes, that's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
We used to meet and play some RPGs, and it was all some of the Malibu guys. There was a Street Fighter RPG at one point.
Really?
And we played that for like 3 or 4 years, and
wow.
With Dan Danko and Jason Levine and those guys. And it became like a TV show. I mean, at the end, it was like everybody knew each other. Everybody had their punchlines and how everybody interacted. And it was great. It was great.
Dan Danko played with that?
Oh, and he was such an antagonizer.
Wow.
I mean, he would do things.
Really? Dan Danko was?
No, really?
Yeah.
And for those of you that don't know, Dan Danko was one of the he was one of the editorial staff. Yeah. He was one of the writers at Malibu, and he was very snide. I always remember one of my things that if you want to know Dan Danko in full, one of the funniest things is we had a column called Ask Diane, where Diane Boda would answer, like Stan used to, would answer questions about comic books. And one time she was busy or had to go somewhere, and Dan took over, and he called it Ask Dan. And so he literally crossed out her name in the comic book and put Dan over it. And then somebody asked some really obtuse question like, well, how does this superpower work under these conditions, and so forth and so on. And Dan wrote this long paragraph. I appreciate it. We love hearing from the fans, and that's very smart. And you'll notice in issue 2 and this. I would love to explain, but as you can see, I've run out of room. End of the article. But he would be the guy if the villain was about to give his big exposition speech. Like one time, I think he was telling me he was playing a game where all these clones were in their chambers and the villain's giving his big speech. Dan just took a machine gun and shot all the test tubes and killed all the clones before they could hatch at the precise moment. Yeah, but yeah, RPGs. Did DC have an RPG? I don't know.
They did. Yeah, I forget what it was called. Well, you know what? I have this thing called Google, don't I? DC role-playing game. It's called the DC Universe.
Okay.
Role-playing. Yeah, DC Universe role-playing game. Yeah.
Now here's one I got for you.
Oh my gosh. $129.
Ooh. Nice.
Yeah, I guess so. May have to see if I've still got my copy. I'll sell mine for $125. Wow. Yeah, it's funny to see how things have that kind of value. It's like, what makes that have a value?
Well, here's a question: Who's Who or Marvel Universe? Remember those two kind of compendiums, I guess you could call them.
Yep.
Which did you think, or did you prefer one? Did you think one was better than the other?
Well, I own both of them because certainly those came out at the time when I was wanting to know about the characters, and I was trying to, break into writing for both of the companies. So I own both of them. But probably I'm going to say I don't own them anymore. I got rid of them. I'm going to say probably the Marvel version.
Yeah, those were great.
Yeah. And it may have to do with the fact that I knew more about the Marvel characters and preferred that more, but I'm going to go with the Marvel version. What about you?
I'd have to say so too. Do you recall they did a second edition of Who's Who, and it was really weird where it was like for a 3-ring binder. So you would buy these packs with triple hole punch things in it, and you yourself had to provide the binding.
You're right. Yeah.
Like getting a binder,
Believe it or not, I actually put those in the binder.
Yeah, I did too. I totally did. I have them somewhere,
I got rid of mine. I got rid of mine in the early 2000s on eBay.
I saw an interview, the inker Joe Rubinstein, and he was talking about how he inked everything for Marvel Universe, and he said it was the best gig because he got a full page rate for a single character illustration. And he said it was one of the best jobs that he had,
Listen, I've talked to several people who worked for Marvel merchandising. Excuse me, not the Marvel comics, but the Marvel merchandising. And they said almost all of them that I can remember said, hey, they'd rather do that than work for Marvel Comics because the pay is better, and they don't have to draw as much.
Yeah.
I've heard that they're more particular often. It's like, no, we need you to redraw this, or we need you to fix this nose, or we need you to, so they would have to do more like corrections, but still in the grand scheme of things, it was less work than drawing a comic book page. So like, yeah, I would rather do that because there's more. Is it your phone?
It is. It's like,
I will honestly say that hasn't really happened terribly much on our streams.
No,
I'm surprised it hadn't happened more. Not for you, but I'm just saying for everybody,
in general, right?
Yeah.
Well, before I forget, it looks like we have 9 minutes left on the Kickstarter, so we're getting close. It looks like it's going to end right as the show ends.
Yep. I think so. I will. We'll stay focused on you until we get down to a couple of minutes.
Yeah, definitely. But I would have to give the edge to Marvel Universe. I think that was great.
Yeah, I think so as well. So I'm just noticing my list here, and since we're kind of at the home stretch, I noticed that we talked about the comics some, but we never actually kind of graded those. Scored them, I should say. So do you think Marvel Comics, if you think about your favorite Marvel comics and your favorite DC comics, which one do you think gets the edge for you?
That's tough. That's really tough.
So let me put it in a different way. Think about maybe your favorite Marvel comics and your favorite DC comics when you first started reading.
Okay.
And then maybe today.
Ooh, that's a good one. One. In that sense, if you're thinking if that's kind of the metrics, I'd have to go with DC actually, because I still
DC today or DC 10?
Oh, you mean you're talking about, do I still read the ones from back then now, or just in general? I feel like I read more of some of the DC like graphic novels more than I do my old Marvel stuff, to be honest. And I know it's cliche, but I still read Watchmen at least once every year. I mean, that's kind of one of the things like with my book. It's like, you can't really tell it here, but I love that Dave Gibbons had that kind of, was it 9-panel format?
The 9-panel grid. Oh,
yeah. I really love that structure and what he was able to pull off with that.
So go ahead.
Well, and the funniest thing is I chose it because I thought it would make things a little bit easier for me to navigate doing my first book. And then the realization was, wow, that's a huge challenge because you don't break the panel as much. You don't have splash pages and things like that to really draw people's eye. You have to do it. You have to do all the angles inside the panel to make it interesting.
Yeah.
And it shows any error, any flaws you have in composition or storytelling are just right there on Main Street. So that's why I still am a huge fan of Watchmen. I think that's a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't mean to kick you off that
Oh, no,
quick.
no, that's
I was trying to get this because, so my, my good buddy Stephen Butler is always sending me stuff, and this is a page from the Defenders. One of the things I love about this, look right there in the center. We
I
talk
love
about the nine panel grid, right? This is one of
Yeah.
your 9-panel grid. Hulk smashes this guy into the panel below him. Right. Oh, yeah, there we go. I can zoom up on this. Right. So so you can see here, right? Hulk bumps the guy and into the panel below.
I love that.
Right. And the guy, he gets bumped. Wow. Have I got a bad headache? Not nearly as you're gonna have. And then oh shoot, what Nighthawk drops a machine on his head.
That's great.
Yeah. I love that. I'm sorry, it was funny.
No, I love it too.
Yeah, Stephen Butler sent these to me. He sent a bunch of pages, but I spotted that page. I'm like, oh my gosh, Hulk knocks a guy into the next panel.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So I would actually have to say, for me, Marvel gets a nod on, and I don't really read new Marvels. I kind of keep up, or DCs. I kind of keep up with what's going on. Certainly Marvel gets the nod for me as a reader from in the 70s and the 80s. I think DC had a good post-crisis. I think DC had really good offerings in the late 80s. Today, I would actually, if I were reading based on the news and stuff that I see, I would have to give the nod to Marvel, because DC seems to have fully embraced, as Wubba was talking about earlier, DC seems to have really embraced the politically correct, let's do everything that you fans are going to hate, and we don't care. They seem to have fully embraced that. I mean, Marvel does some of it as well, so I'm not saying they're innocent. It just seems like DC has just gone full gung ho. So one of the things I noticed, Curtis, and you may appreciate this. So everybody knows Marvel and DC are always hiring the same people, and you talk to some editors. Oh, I was an editor at DC. Oh yeah, I was an editor at Marvel before that, right? So so one of the things that I noticed is that if you look at the DC offices today, and then for the last several years, it's pretty much the Marvel offices of the 90s.
How interesting.
Isn't it though?
It is. That's a really good point.
And I'm not going to tell you who said it, but someone said, so you're telling me, when I pointed this out, I said, so you're saying that the same people that ran Marvel into the ground in the 90s are the same people who's running DC into the ground today? I said, I didn't say that, but but there's a lot of the same people. They're not, it's not exclusively the same, but there's you look around and you're like, wow, that's the same people doing that.
Well, what's funny is I realized finally at this age is whenever I start a new job, there's the job that they say you're supposed to do, and then there's the job that people want you to do.
Yeah.
And so that that's something to navigate maybe in that situation.
Yeah. I think as we said earlier, I think that I think there's a lot of people that would like to understand why they're doing the things that they're doing. All right, Curtis, we're down to 2 minutes to go here. I think at some point in time it will start showing us seconds. So we are at 58.79, which puts us $121 away from 6,000.
Yeah.
So not looking like we're going to make that 6,000 stretch goal, and we are 6 backers away from 120 backers. So not looking like we're going to make that particular stretch goal either. But we've got 114 awesome backers who have helped us get this project live. And there we go. There's our seconds starting to count down now.
Here we go, guys.
Yep. So thank all of you so very much for backing our Kickstarter and for having the faith in us that you do. We know that there's a lot of you who've backed, all of them. Oh, you know what? I wonder if I could ever do that. Go back and look and see if we've got anybody who's backed every campaign. Oh, look at that! Somebody else popping in here. I don't know if he realizes that he's on stream.
Got to put my camera up.
Yeah.
Well, because I had to take my camera off to use my Cintiq. So,
Welcome to the show. Welcome. Congratulations, Aaron. Another successful campaign.
Yep.
Yeah.
And jumping in here is Aaron, the penciler of the obsoletes.
Yeah, I thought I'd come on. So I have been just checking it. It's been a busy week, busy weekend, but I'm glad to see it coming in. I know that we made our goal and stuff, but yeah, I was gonna come home and post pages of issue 2 to get people excited. But since we have 2 minutes left, and you just have to wait for the next Kickstarter to see those pages, aren't you? So yeah.
So yeah, we were just in the process of thanking folks, Aaron, just saying we got 114 awesome folks who got us not just to goal, but got us over the goal and got us to 2 stretch goals. Got us to that first one really fast too.
Yeah.
And so we've got some awesome backers out there, and I just think it's awesome that you guys have the faith and confidence in us to just keep coming back. And what I was saying to Curtis is I want to figure out well, here we go. We're almost done here. Woohoo! All right, you see the confetti going.
They actually that's fun. I didn't know they actually did that when you reach goal.
Yep.
So what happens if you don't? Do they just does the page blow up in like a bomb or something? Or
I don't know.
I mean, and now I'm kind of curious. Like, did they do something we don't know? That they go like wah wah wah, and like shut it down or something? I don't know.
Sad trombone.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. Seeing as to how Silverline has run 18 and funded 18, I'm not really sure what they do. I don't want to know.
Yeah. But I wonder. I'd probably just look up online. I'm sure somebody would show. They probably don't do anything, but I mean, what a way to rub it in.
Yeah, I would imagine that they don't do anything. That's just a guess on my part, but I would imagine they don't do anything. So, but yeah. So oh no, what I was saying to Curtis is I wonder if there's a way, and if any of you guys are listening and you've backed multiple Kickstarters, let us know how many you've backed. I would be kind of curious to see how many, because I know we've got a bunch of recurring names that these guys come out and they support us. I mean, campaign after campaign, and just makes my heart happy that when I see these names pop up, it makes me feel good that, the thing about it is we do such a variety. I know in my heart that some of them are going, you know what? I don't really like barbarians, but I'm going to back this one because I like Silverline and they've delivered, and I know I'm going to get my books. I know that they're out there, and I'm not asking for confessions, but I know that some of them are out there and they back us just because they like us, and that makes my heart so happy.
I wonder too. I don't know. I don't know the difference between kickstarting like a single property like we kickstarted Beyond the Stars Obsoletes as its own Kickstarter and then combining. I don't know there's a difference. I know a lot of people do Kickstart anthologies.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know if there's like more successful if you just focus on one property, or if you do this, you get a little more success because it's a little bit of everything for everyone. I'd be curious to know if there's any difference between those two. Probably not that much, if anything, but
yeah. Well, I would say based on, because some of our early Kickstarters were single properties.
Yeah.
And if you look at them, I think that probably for us, we're better off. A wise Silverliner has said before, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah.
And so, and I think that that's something that we get to see. Now, one of the discussions, and I talked to one of our backers at MegaCon today, And he's like, I am not a fan of your all-in-one books. And I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, but you do anthologies. What's the
Yeah.
difference, And but he was like, he goes, I don't mind, having to pledge to all of them, but give me singles, don't put them
That's
all
what I
in one.
thought. Like, what would happen? How much extra would that? Let's see. I wonder how much that would be. How much it affected if we split it and like you can get all of them together in one book, or you can pick apart. It seems like if you pick apart, would that be just too much stuff on the Kickstarter to look through?
Yeah, I mean, so we've done a pretty good job of cutting down the number of tiers now,
Yeah.
and that's because I will say this: that's because Kickstarter has added add-ons.
Yeah.
So rather than so all the stuff that we had as add-ons now, we used to have to do as a separate tier.
And
Right?
that, it would make it a huge list.
And now we could just say, hey, get this, and then you can add on any of this stuff,
Yeah.
So I am very thankful for the add-ons. What was I going to do? I was going to look something up. Oh yeah.
The
But
only thing I want, and I'd be curious to know if anyone, I've sometimes I've wondered, are doing all-in-one books, I think are fun as collectability of getting the all-in-one books, but if people want to just collect the single issues of each series to have like issue 1, 2, 3, 4, but they can do that by going to Indie Planet, because then we sell these individually at Indie Planet. And so
Right.
you should be able to go over there and do that. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's hurting collectors, but then I don't know. I mean, I'm just guessing. It is. I've often wondered, but when people have asked me, is it an anthology? And I'm like, well, no, because you're getting 3 complete issue 1s in one book. They're not short stories that are self-contained. They're issue 1s. This almost reminds me a little bit of like a Shonen Jump type thing, where you get like complete
Right.
stories.
Right.
That's what I thought, and I've always been curious to try this and see if something like this would ever work. But like in an American comic format, because I know in Japan they do it all the time, but I don't know. Shonen Jump came to America in printed form, but it only lasts like a year or two, and then they quit. But that was right during the crash of the whole magazine market, so I think it was just a bad time in general. I don't think it was the magazine itself.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So obviously from our point of view, from like where we sit, trying to raise money, which is what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
It's cheaper for us to print one cover with with 70 pages than it is to print 3 different issues.
Yeah.
So, if we're trying to raise money, which is what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to raise money for this. It makes more sense for us to go, here's one cover that has all 3 of your stories instead of 3, because we wouldn't make,
I totally understand that. I'm just curious to know if we've actually turned people away.
Yeah.
Because of it, and I have no idea. But then anthologies do well, so it would be hard for me to say no on this, but yes to an anthology.
Yeah.
That would be, and I'm always the one thing I'm always kind of, to me, the anthology, and this is coming from an artist, so take this with a grain of salt as an artist point of view. Is the idea I usually open an anthology and like one art and one story, like 6-page story out of 40, and so to me it just never seems. Well, I don't want to pay like so much money if I just like one little 6-page story. And that's just me being persnickety on my end as far as not liking certain things. But sometimes anthologies are a smorgasbord of art styles. And so,
and
yeah.
you like that.
Yeah, but these art styles are pretty similar. I mean, some of the anthologies I have will go like graffiti style, superhero style, like independent style, like very radically different styles. But these styles are pretty much. I mean, I think mine is the most different.
I was gonna say, I don't know.
Dude,
I'm looking at this one, and it's like Beyond the Stars and Obsoletes. Those art styles are not the same.
Not the same, but I would say Cray and Beyond the Stars are pretty similar a little bit.
Close-ish, yeah.
Close-ish, more close-ish than mine, yeah. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Smart. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I can say this without sounding like I'm saying something different. Rob Davis says smorgasbord.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not a smorgasbord, but a smartgasbord.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, then again, if people are primarily interested in comics for writing, anthologies may be a boon for them because they can get all sorts of stories.
Well, I think.
Yeah.
I think one of the things we talked about, Rob Davis. I think one of the things that makes these anthologies work is if you got 30 stories, you've got 30 different creative teams that are backing, and they're bringing their fans to back them. So, and when you're talking about what's more successful, one property or a multiple property, that's why I kind of go with the Sifu Curtis Rising Tide line, because I think that helps us as well, because we're able to bring, and they don't necessarily always like it, right? I mean, I know that sometimes a creator's like, I want my book by itself. I don't want to be with somebody else. It's like, yeah, I get it. I hear you, but we got all these books that we got to do, so we can't really.
And that
do
never
that.
bothered me because, again, like everyone knows, we sell them individually in Indie Planet.
Right.
So if you want to buy individual issues, go to Indie Planet and you can get your individual issue collection all separate. So that never bothered me with the Kickstarters.
Yeah.
Doing that.
Yeah. So, and the occasional fans like, well, I only want Beyond the Stars. Well, okay, if that's really all you want, and you're not, so
Don't want the obsoletes. He has no taste.
Well, here's the thing, right? Most people who back Kickstarters do so knowing that they're paying a little bit of a premium because they're helping the creators raise money, right? If all you want to do is get the book, well, then just wait till the Kickstarter's over and order it when it's regular price, off the like you said, off of Indie Planet. But many people who back the Kickstarters know that, what, I'm paying a little bit more than I normally would for this because I am trying to help the creators make a little money so that they can continue this thing. Most people who back Kickstarters know that, right? And they're
they
aware
get something
that
a little extra, something unique.
Yeah. And that's why, for us, one of the things that we like to do is give them the exclusives. Like, okay, well, because you're backing this and paying a little bit of a premium, you're going to get this exclusive cover that you can't get after the Kickstarter is over. Now, our hope as a publisher and as creators in a few years, those Kickstarter exclusives gain value for them, because that's one of the things that they're also trying to bank on, is that, hey, I supported this, and now this $20 book that I supported, hey, it's now worth $50 because there's only 86 of them published or printed. Rob Davis adds, or wait and buy it as an add-on for some other Kickstarter program that you like. Yeah.
Have you ever thought, when we do the graphic novels, because I'm sure we're getting to the graphic novels, like offering the 4 issues, like say graphic novels composed of 4 issues, offer the 4 issues that's like, you can get the graphic novel, or you can get all the 4 issues that were previously in the single issues as a collection. I don't know, maybe that might be something.
We did that with Kalis.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. Yeah,
we did that with Kalis, and we had some people that got the 4 issues, we had some people that got the trades, we had some people that got both.
I don't know, because it seems like a lot of especially the younger comics reading, are not really in it for the collectability, which I'm actually kind of almost a little happy for, because it seems they're more reading it than collecting. Because I don't mind collectors, but I want people to read the stuff too. And so it seems like, but
like a writer.
It's like, I didn't write it so you can just look at it.
Right.
But it seems interesting that most younger generations just want the material to consume and not so much of a collectability.
Well, and I think that the other thing is, I think the newer generation, younger generation, tend to prefer graphic novels. They tend to prefer in the collections. They don't want to wait for issue after issue. That's just like, oh, wait until you're done, and then I'll take the graphic novel, so that they can binge it. I mean, it's the binge mentality, the binge generation. Think about how many people you've heard sit down and binge, shows on Netflix or Hulu or something like that. They don't just, like when we were younger, we had to, oh, look, Cosby Show's coming on Thursday night. I need to be at my TV at 7 o'clock to watch Cosby.
Watch that. And I think there's also too. I also think there was a crossover of like baseball card collectors and stuff. There was an idea. I mean, when I was growing up in the '80s, there was a lot of people had a fun collecting. You collect cards and put them all together. You collect comics, and there was this idea of building collections, which I don't sometimes necessarily see today, but I do get a sense there was more of that fun of hunting it down as stuff. And the strange enough, I often think maybe the reason why the collectability is kind of waned a little bit is because you can get it online. Okay, now that sounds kind of weird, but what I was saying is half the fun was going to conventions and comic shops and trying to hope you get lucky. Hope you find that issue. And so I think by just being able to go online and fill up your collection like that kind of takes the fun of the hunt. Because, I mean, half of the fun of collecting is the hunt to find that issue you're missing. I had a friend who collects toys who said that. Like, he's like, I can get all my stuff online, but I kind of miss going in the stores and stuff and, coming upon that figure I want to be like, yeah, I found it. There was something fun about the hunt.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I can kind of see that. The internet kind of took that away just a little bit.
Yeah.
Not completely, because it's still hard to find single issues on the internet, maybe, but it did take it away a little bit.
Yeah. I saw something interesting at the show today. There was a comic dealer who had, he was selling sets. So, I saw this, like, and I didn't look at all of them, but it's like $200 set of like X Factor 1 through,
yeah, I've seen a lot
5 or something like that. I'm like, wow, that's, but you get the whole set right there, It's a great idea. It's a huge chunk of change, but it's a great idea.
We have a comic shop in Portland called Fallout Comics that sells nothing but back issues. They don't sell new issues, and he sells tons of sets like that. You can go in and find huge runs of like entire runs of comics. They'll sell in huge like packages and stuff. It's pretty cool. And I've actually, I think I went through and got a Wonder Woman run. It was like certain issues, and I bought that big chunk and read it because it was interesting. It was fun to do that, and he would have a lot of single issues, but then he had boxes of nothing but just runs of comics that and I thought, oh, that's cool.
That is very cool.
And get him on.
Well, we are at the end of our show. So once again, we want to thank all of you for backing our Silverline Science Fiction Extravaganza. We ended, if you didn't hear, we ended with 58.79 and 114 backers. So we will now spend or Kickstarter, I should say. We'll now spend the next week collecting the funds. And if you have problems with your cards, they'll send you a message. And once we get those, we won't get the funds for about another 2 weeks. But in between that time, what I will do is I'm going to send out some surveys so that you can fill in the name that you want mentioned on our thank you page, because we'll do a thank you page in our Kickstarter versions, and thank all of you by name. In those, so that you can get your name in lights and you can be recognized for helping us make these projects happen. So yeah, and with the exception of there are 3 people for the Wolf Hunter Sirens Kickstarter. I don't have your addresses. I have sent you emails. If you happen to be listening to this, please check and send me your physical address so that I can send you your books. I cannot send you your books without an address. And so if you don't have them, make sure that I've got your address, because I can't send them without that. So digital rewards should be coming, not tonight. I won't have time to do that, but hopefully the next couple of days, now that all the physicals are in the mail, except for those couple, digital rewards will follow. Our next Kickstarter is slated for, I've got to open up. Oh, I have to wait a minute, get my dates. I have the dates. I'll do that in just a second. Well, it's opening faster than I thought it was. So I keep all the, you guys know this, all of this Discord. So our next Kickstarter is slated for July 7th, 2024. I'm going to hold on to the titles just yet, because there's a couple. Actually, there's about 5 possibilities at this point in time as to what could be kickstarted. So I'm just going to kind of hang tight a little bit and kind of see where we end up. I think I know what it's going to be, but I'm going to wait just a little bit, maybe a couple of weeks before we announce that one. As to who they are. But for those of you who are socking some money away, July 7th through the 24th, if you'll mark that on your calendar, put a few dollars away so that you can support us then. Curtis, anything to add?
No, just thanks to everybody. You know, it's actually a pretty big achievement to get 18 successful Kickstarter campaigns. You know, so we really appreciate everybody's confidence and continued support. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
absolutely. Curtis, where can folks find you on the interwebs?
Sure. You can go ahead and find me. You can look at for my comic books. All the social media links are on these two sites. So for my comic book, www.theshadowghost.com. And for my martial arts school, www.tigercrane.net. So you can check me out there.
Excellent. Aaron, what about you? Where can folks find you online?
Facebook, Instagram, Humphreys Illustration, HUM, just like my last name spelled, RES, illustration, one word. You can find my Facebook in the same name. Have a store and a portfolio, Humphreys Illustration. All just use the same thing. You'll find me online. You'll find me on there. So yeah.
Excellent. And I know Roberta was on here earlier. You can find her at Ruby Conroy on, I think, Instagram and Facebook. You can find me on all the social medias under Roland Man or Man Roland. I try to be very good about follow backs. So give me a follow. I'll follow you back, like, and share this stream, whether you listen to it. Thank you, Curtis. Whether you listen to it on YouTube or Twitch or on Facebook, please like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends to like, share, and subscribe. Help us get those numbers up. The more people that know about us, the more people that can back our books, and the more we can continue to make comic books for you. And as we like to say every time before we close, remember to
make mine Silverline.
Make mine Silverline. Oh, I forgot to mention Tuesday night. Tuesday night we got a stream. Join the gang. Tuesday night. I'm
not sure what we're doing.
I'm not sure what you're talking about. So join the game Tuesday night.
Be surprised.
So on Tuesday. And then the Wednesday Whammers will be back here on Wednesday night. We will be back next week. We are going to be talking with a lawyer who is an entertainment lawyer. And so we're going to bring some questions for entertainment law. What are some of the things that gets creators in trouble, that kind of stuff. He's not quite a lawyer yet. He's studying to be, but it's a guy I met last year. Super nice guy. He's taking a bar this summer. So we're going to pepper him with questions. And I told him if we ask him anything illegal, just tell us he can't answer. So he was very cool about that. But his name is JC Barton. So JC will be joining us next week. And now remember to make mine Silverline. All right. Good night, everybody. Closing bumper.
Hi, I'm Greg Horn. Make mine Silverline.